Hello, welcome to my review of Calvin Klein's Euphoria. This is, I'm going to put myself out there and say, my favourite Calvin Klein fragrance ever. There's been a few that have come close, but this one seems to speak to me on a lot of levels. It's kind of a good all-rounder for me, so that's probably why I'm calling it my favourite. So, it's an Oriental Floral, came out in 2005. It's an eau de parfum. It was released originally as an eau de parfum, but it's now available in eau de toilette and 6 or 7 other variations. I think that sometimes when a designer or a company gets onto a good thing, then it's just like, let's just expand it out in a million ways. And so I've read on the internet was Calvin Klein's first release after a 3-year break. So, and it's a good one. It is a really good one. I think it kind of has a lot of mixed reviews, but I think because it's so popular, because it is very popular, I do smell it on quite a lot of people, I think it sells well, and I think that's the reason why the Calvin Klein company, whoever makes their fragrance, has decided to let's make a million variations of it. I'm a bit of a stickler, and I don't tend to veer off of something when I like it, if there's a variation when it comes to perfumery, and I can safely say I've not smelled any of the other ones. There's an eau de toilette, there's a Euphoria Blossom, there's a Diamond or something or other edition, there's just loads. I'm going to stick to this one because I know and love it and it works for me. So here's the box. Mine's the 100ml bottle of it. I like it that much, don't have to get a big one. It's shiny and purple. I like shiny things and I like purple things, so that's not why I bought this. I bought this because I smelled it on a co-worker, and just, you know, when you just sometimes go, oh, really nice. So yeah, it's eau de parfum, I said 100ml. It's a very plain box. Calvin Klein packaging fragrances usually have a very clean line. They're quite simplistic in their packaging, which I really like. He never goes into the complicated, crazy, sexy bottles, but I like that. That's kind of the whole thing, is it, with Calvin Klein. The clothes seem to be very, dare I say, plain? Yeah. So here's the bottle. I still don't know if I like the bottle or not. I think it's really weird. It's like they took a disc of metal and then just pinched it together like that. The lid's kind of juxtaposed as well. It doesn't sit flush on the glass, which is just weird. Not that it matters that much, but you know, it doesn't really flow very much. As you can see, it's all shiny and silver, and the liquid, I don't know if you can see through that, but it's kind of like a lighter shade of this. It's kind of light purpley colour. Very shiny, takes a lot of cleaning, marks easily, quite like an iPhone. So yeah, I'll go through the notes with you. I'm just going to spray it on this hand so it's drying, and then, because it's been drying on this hand for a while. And then I will go through the notes, yeah, like I said. So the top notes are pomegranate, persimmon, which is, as far as I'm aware, also known as the Japanese pear. It's a fruit and it kind of looks like a tomato. I've never smelled one before. I don't even know where I'd get my hands on one of them. But it's another fruity element to this fragrance, and it's supposed to be kind of lightly tangy. I couldn't tell you. Then it's got Rosehip, which I think is a real interesting thing to have in a fragrance. Rosehip is, again, I've never smelt it on its own before, but what it is it's literally the tiny kind of little fruity berry that some certain rose bushes produce, supposedly mainly wild ones, and the odour of it is kind of a cross between a very sharp berry and a rose. So I'd love to be able to smell it on its own, but yeah, if you can kind of get the feel of this, it's kind of like a dark, sharp, fruity top. And then the other top note is a lush green accord. I don't know, I don't really get much greenery, but there you go. Anyway, the heart notes are lotus blossom, champaka, which is a lovely flower if you've ever smelt it in quite strongly in a fragrance before. It's kind of it's supposed to be kind of like tea, but a lot more heady, so a lot like powerful kind of tea floral fragrance, or odour, sorry. And then you've got Black Orchid. I'm not sure how that differs from a normal Orchid, but Orchid gives a kind of sweet, kind of velvety powderiness to a fragrance. It's usually synthetic as well. It's never really real Orchid, because I don't think you can actually get real Orchid essential oil from my studies. That's what I've learned. And then the base is amber, good old amber. It's usually in the base of a fragrance. Black Violet. Again, I don't know how that differs from a normal violet. That's also another synthetically produced note, and it also gives a fragrance a kind of powdery, smooth feel. Cream Accord, and then Mahogany. So you've got quite a dark, kind of rich wood note in the base. So, excuse me, sorry. So, some of the notes in there are really interesting, I think. I think it's, some people think this is ordinary, some people think it's too popular, because it probably is. Calvin Klein fragrances are going to be popular when you look at it from the bigger picture. It's Calvin Klein, you know. He's had massive groundbreaking fragrances like CK1 and, you know, when he did like Contradiction and things like that. He does very, I would say, crowd-pleasing fragrances. But this one, even though it might be a crowd pleaser, I think it's got something very special about it, and I think it's great. I think the quality is great as well. So, the smell, it's, sorry, I've always got problems with my hiccups and things like that when I'm doing a review. It's like, I don't know what's going on. Usually I do them after dinner, that's why, so rude, but sorry. Yeah, so when you first smell it, you immediately feel this kind of real dark, tart fruitiness to it. It is like a floral fruity, but with a difference. It's much more complex than just your average floral fruity fragrance. The fruit in it is very dark and crisp and tart, and you can immediately smell this kind of sexy wood to it. And I always say there's kind of two kinds of woodiness in a fragrance. There's the real pencil shaving wood, and then there's this kind of exotic, sensual, I almost want to say petrol-y. I don't mean like petroleum, but petrol has the same kind of tone to some woods, and this is like the epitome of that kind of woody fragrance. It's real sensual in that way, and it's almost like pearlescent. I know that doesn't describe a scent, but if you can imagine like pearly, like swirly petrol sharpness, that's how this feels to me. And there is just the perfect amount of sweetness. Again, it's floral, fruity and sweet, but it's because it's got this amazing mahogany note to it, it stops it being candy or, I don't know, cloyingly sweet. For me anyway, it is sweet, but it's not candy sweet. It's a completely different kind of sweet. It's more grown up, which is lovely. I really wish he would stop tweeting. He wasn't tweeting until I started recording. He does this every single time. He must know. Anyway. So yeah, it's, as I said at the beginning of this review, it's a real good all-rounder. It smells really complete to me. Like when you spray it on, it's done. I think it can fit many occasions. I reckon you could dress it up. You could wear it casually day to day. It kind of does feel a little bit more nightimey to me because it has that slight darkness to it. But this is, I reckon, would be a really good go-to scent, and I reckon in every season as well. I will add on to that though, that this does have some quite intense power. I would say if I'm going to wear it in summer, I wouldn't put on loads of it because it might get overpowering to other people. I like things strong. I would probably wear a lot of it, but that's because I'm a fragrance head, so I'm bound to do that. But yeah, it does have a real good longevity, which is fantastic, because Calvin Klein fragrances to me, they can be hit or miss. As I said, they're usually crowd pleasers, but Sometimes they're really good, and this is, like I said, my favourite. Second to this would probably be Contradiction. I thought that was quite unusual, and I don't know, I love the opening of that one, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. So yeah, where are we going? So that's that part of it. It is almost like dark berries, it is woody, it has got a sexiness and a slight sweetness. Here it's dry, it's been drying for 3 hours on me, and I would say it loses, I love it when it's in this stage, I love it, this part of it. It's still nice here, but it loses a lot of that petrol-y woodiness, and it turns sweeter and smooths out a bit. It has got violet in the base, so that's going to give it kind of a bit of a kind of powdery smoothness. It's going to come forward a little bit. Amber is a kind of sweet, smooth note, and that would make sense because it is kind of smoothing out a little bit. This cream accord, I don't know really. I'd like to smell that on its own. I'd like to see what they put into this to see what it is, but I wouldn't call this creamy in any way, shape or form. It's more, when it's dry, it's very much more kind of soft, smooth, floral, but still retains that kind of sexiness to it. I think it's one of a kind. I've never smelled anything like it before. If you have, please let me know what other ones are out there that are like this, because I'd like to know. But this feels perfect to me. It ticks all of the boxes of just being a great all-rounder. And that's my review of Calvin Klein's Euphoria. I'll see you guys next for, I don't know what's going to be next, but it won't be very long. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.